So it has been a very fluctuating graph in that sense. Everything hasn't been a bed of roses. But in spite of that, I think Nritya Sangam happened at a time when I already had two degree courses. I mean, two degrees, one master's in dance and one postgraduate in television production. So it came at a time, and it came at another strategic time when I was not really sure whether again, shall I go back to performing arts or shall I go back to television? Things turned out very differently for me after Nritya Sangam. Opportunities just opened up. Also, if you look at the manner in which the economy opened up also during my time at that particular period is also very different. Suddenly you had many corporate shows. Suddenly there was a boom. The corporate shows had started in Pune. If I remember correctly, during 2001, it suddenly opened up. But post Nritya Sangam, which was 2006, 2005, things really looked up for me. And after that, the Nritya Sangam collaboration has been working for around 10 years, which is doing great with Shambhavi Dai. And after that, I got empaneled as a guru in Lalit Kala Kendra. So I had students coming for bachelor's and masters. And the 2010, the big break when I was employed as an assistant professor in my own college, which I very well know. So I think it has been a journey of ups and downs, but most importantly, I have not stuck to the same ground. I have kind of explored other areas too, and I think that is very important if you want to be a holistic performing artist. If you just want to be a performer, then it's a different deal. But I don't think so. I ever just wanted to be a performer. That's not the only dream which I ever harnessed. I had many dreams, and I have pursued each dream individually. So in that context, probably my way of looking at performing arts, my way of looking at performing itself is slightly different. And Lalit Kala Kendra comes at a point where I had made very strategic decisions about my career, and it offered me a different experience of performing arts. I think 2010 and till 2017, if you look at this whole 7 year span, one thing which we realize is the manner in which the whole media and social media has changed. 2010, I remember Facebook did exist, but WhatsApp did not. WhatsApp came in 2013, if I remember correctly. So this has got a lot to do with the manner in which social media suddenly was thrown into the minds of the youngsters, which did not exist. Social media was there, Facebook was there, but the whole smartphone deal was not there. So the big change happened when the smartphones suddenly came into the area, and they came everywhere. They came in the area of education too. Internet did exist, but still, I would say the smartphone kind of changed this whole system because then suddenly you had WhatsApp groups. Suddenly, people started discussing education on social media. You had people started discussing papers. They had YouTube links. They had YouTube came a big way. So education, the manner in which we started looking at education was very different than what we used to look at earlier. I remember during my time when we would talk about dance history and so many other things, the only proofs we had were certain books and certain research papers which only the lecturers had. Right? We didn't have any access to them because of even the internet. 98 2000 was a very beginning phase. But 2000 post to 2012 2013, the whole performing arts research and the access of resources has been very different now. If I say I want to mm, teach a particular topic, I can actually say, okay, look out for this, and there will be 10 papers. These two papers are very interesting. Read up, and then we are going to discuss. So, and YouTube videos, of course, because every choreographer and every performing artist has one's own collection of videos, and you can actually discuss their choreographic approaches. So this is something which did not exist earlier, and I'm very happy that this has come across because now we have tangible proofs of what we are talking about. We are not talking in thin air. We are not just going to produce anecdotes as proofs. Earlier, we would be given anecdotes as proofs. That such and such guru said this thing and such guru said that thing, and you would say, okay, fine, but what about that? Now it's a different thing. If you have to prove a certain point, you can say, hey, you look at this video and you'll realize she has done it in this way or he has done it in this way, and he says this, and he proves it in his choreography. So I think that is extremely necessary to be articulate about what you do, and this articulation is now slowly developing. I wouldn't say it's happened very smoothly, but I think now students have learned that it's not just important to perform well, but you should be able to understand why you're doing it, and you should know the inner logic behind it. Is there any logic, or it's just impulse? It's just intuitive. So I think we are questioning and getting deeper into why we are doing the way we are doing it, rather than, oh, what a way to do it. Okay, yeah, those improvisations are there, excellent. But why those improvisations happen in a particular person? Why does a person respond in certain fashion which you don't respond? And that is what is very interesting and important, because then you start getting into the whole aspect of context. And once you start getting into the whole aspect of context, then you have to face questions about what your context today is, and then what are you doing with it. We never had a theory course on choreography during my time, and suddenly in a decade back, Guru Shamate and the whole Guru's community said that no, we need this topic going now, because now we need to talk about choreography very seriously and not just treat it as a part of tradition, and this gets passed on from one generation to generation. So it's not about that, it's about what exactly do you invest in a choreography. That is one part. And second part, in the last 5 6 7 7 years, gurus opened up with the idea of discussing and talking about so many issues about dance, aesthetic issues, and there are issues in aesthetics also. So we had research projects in the last 5 years, and ex-HOD Dr. Shubhangi Bhavlikar was there. We had so many research projects with regards to that, and that never happened earlier. So there was a turning point in the history of Lalit Kala Kendra, that in the context of dance, we had some very interesting seminars happening where we got to see the best of critics and performers on platter discussing, talking, and that is a rarity. Also, we had collected so much of material for through our research projects that the students can actually refer to it in the library. So I don't remember that happening during my time. There wasn't much funding for a center which quote boasts itself of self-aided, and that is kind of risky, because you have to make sure that the department keeps itself running. So in spite of that, it's beautiful to see that in the last 10 years, even the Pune University kind of opened up to this idea of promoting research in the biggest way, and that is really something remarkable about this university, is the manner in which it has promoted research of all kinds within its campus. So this is in the last 15 years. I don't remember that happening in 98, 2000. I think it was still in its nascent stages. I think everybody has to grow techno savvy, and we have grown techno savvy. Yeah. And we have, if you look at classrooms, there are LCD projectors attached. If you have, there is Wi-Fi. We never had any internet Wi-Fi during my time. So we are talking about a period now you cannot do without Wi-Fi in our own very Lalit Kala Kendra. So everybody's grown very techno savvy. Everybody knows how to make things work very fast and quicken up things. Everybody knows how to make their own posters. Students know how to make their own posters. They know how to go about it in terms of publicity. They know how to go about it in terms of managing lights. And administration knows what needs to be pushed to do that. So I think the overall awareness of process, obviously because the demand is increased. And under the headship of Dr. Praveen Boy, this is even becoming much better, because he understands the inner dynamics of administration and education very well. So I think overall it's becoming very disciplined and very, very super fine, which is very important for an educational institute of such nature, which is so diverse. Not all performing arts colleges are diverse. Not all performing colleges house a Gurukul tradition plus a theatre full-time residential course. So this is a very diverse combination, and it's not easy to handle the dynamics of it. So I think that's happening very nice and in a very sophisticated manner. You go to any road, street, place, there is a dance class. either Bollywood, contemporary or classical. Nowhere in Pune you will find a place where there's nothing happening. And that is a very good sign, because that means Pune, which had harbored an image of theatre or fortress of theatre and music, classical music, now is a fort of dance. And that is a very brighter picture for the dance community. My idea was about creating a do-it-yourself book. It's like a book which explains Alaripu, explains the innermost principles, and that has been really very encouraging, which means that as I grey 460s, I might also have becoming a full-time writer. I always say that. Because I've got responses like, this is not a very traditional way of looking at it. But my whole answer to this question was, then why would I write?